MB Karab at Beanie Inc. at 2300 Orem Avenue. So the next item on the docket is Brenna Gonzalez and Brian Reyes, Mi Ranchito LLC, trade name Mi Ranchito, that is at 11114-16 Holland Street. This is a Class BV7, beer, wine, liquor, application for transfer of ownership.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the applicants in the case. It's a current licensee at that location, present to testify he's in favor of the transfer. He's also going to be in front of you next week for getting his own license.
Going to have any testimony?
No testimony. They've met with
Be glad to hear from you.
they met with the Hollands Roundhouse, Mrs. Biancheri. Actually, the two applicants here have been involved in running the place probably for the last 6 or 7 months. They've had the meetings for the community association at their location. They're in favor of the transfer of the license. They think they'd be a nice addition, and they were just telling me they got a contract with the university to do catering also from that location.
You're right opposite the market.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What was it before called?
What was it called before?
Mel, who's that?
Can't hear you. Put
Mr.
it right in the
Collins,
mic.
Mr. Collins.
Well, he's-
It was
he's-
Amour, and prior to that, Baltimore Pho, Vietnamese restaurant.
Go ahead, Mel.
So, you know,
First name.
James. Usually when it was faux, that's the.
You're right,
No
right.
No opposition. They've been, had a meeting there a couple weeks ago.
Commissioners have any questions?
Who are the 3 people that are certifying on this application?
Application, there was 3, and then we submitted some additional names.
That's what I need.
Okay, we'll give you the additional names, Dana.
There were 5 and 2 were, 1, 2, and 3 were crossed off. So what I have right now is just 2.
I thought we had brought some
Yes, they
additional
did.
names
Okay.
down, didn't we?
You did, hold on, let me get them for you.
We ought to do away with that. I'm just talking while we're waiting.
Should we do it today?
How many years have you been saying that?
How long we have electricity?
He did send me, what was the name? I found it in here.
If it's not, they would go, I know we brought extra ones down.
Right, he did. I received a copy of the additional names, and we did check them out. I'm just trying to figure out where they are in the file right now, but I can verify that with the board and send an email.
You know, I know, 'cause I know we took them out twice.
And then,
Okay.
and I can send that as a verification back to the board.
Any other questions?
None?
Yeah, I received.
I just wanted to clarify, I think I heard you say that this licensee, obviously he's going to come off this license because he's transferring 100%, and then he's going to come before us next week for
For his own.
for a new license for
No,
himself.
it's a transfer of a license, isn't it?
It's a transfer. Speak into the mic, please.
The license was held by Coffee, and it had been transferred to him, but I was the lien holder on the license. He then left, so then it came back to me. We had a hearing on that several months ago, and then it would now be transferred to myself as the holder of the license
Tell the
from
commissioners,
the
you've
lien
been down
holder.
there how many years, like 15, 20 years? How many years you've been down there?
Oh, about 12 years, I guess
Yeah,
now.
and he's done various things in the community. And this was a place he took back as a result of somebody defaulting. Was it 39 South Arlington?
Arlington, right, correct.
All right, and 626 South Monroe Street, is that in Baltimore City?
Monroe, yes, it is. That's in the Montgomery Wards on mine. It's Old
Okay.
Montgomery Wards. I'm sorry, you may not remember. Montgomery Park, it's called now.
Okay, I know Montgomery Park. All right, those are all the questions that I have.
And then here, I vote yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, you have our decision.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, call the next case when you're ready. You ready? He's ready.
The next item is a hardship extension. Ryan Perlberg, Shot Tower LLC, trade name is Willow, 811 South Broadway. This is a Class B beer, wine, liquor. A request for hardship extension under provision 2B 10504D.
All
All right, yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, always good to see you.
And you're representing,
I'm representing Peru Sharafi, the landlord.
licensee?
The landlord at 811 South Broadway. The licensee, Ryan Perlberg, is here. He's represented by Abraham Hurdle, Esquire. I'm Stephen W. Fogelman, 1720 Thames Street. Thank you.
who are you representing?
I represent Mr. Prober.
Okay. All right, are you going to have any testimony?
No, I'd like to make argument unless the board would require it.
If there's any testimony, it's all going to be very brief regarding some dates, but that's kind of.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
All right, thank you very much. I wrote to the board on February 5th of this year. There was an issue between the landlord and the licensee. There was a vacancy of the premises that occurred on November 7th. At the time, the parties were negotiating a settlement. There was possible litigation. Since that time, the parties have worked together. They're very, very close to reaching a settlement. We had requested, or we had information that the premises and the licensed premises known as Willow was open and operating at least as late as August 10th, 2014. That's the last time that my client, the landlord, had actually seen, was sure with his own eyes, had seen business going on there. So out of an abundance of caution, we filed this extension request around the 179th day from August 10th. Since that time, and since the parties have been in negotiations, we have learned that Mr. Perlberg was fully open and operating for the Fells Point Fun Fest, which occurred from October 2nd to October 4th, 2014. The premises were vacated by order of court on November 7th. So what we're asking the board today, and Mr. Perlberg can verify the operation during the Fells Point Fun Fest, we're asking the board for a 180-day hardship extension request, and we're asking that the 180 days run from April 4th, 2015, 6 months prior to the last alcoholic beverage operations. We had originally requested, we're going to request 180 days from today's date. But
Let me get all the testimony in, and then we'll ask for questions.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. Do you have anything do you personally have anything you wish to say on behalf of your client?
The information that Mr. Fogelman gave is accurate to my knowledge.
Well, tell us.
Well, as Mr. Fogelman indicated, Mr. Perlberg was open October 3rd through 5th, I believe, was the specific date. Sorry, not the 2nd through 4th. I think it's the 2nd and 4th in 2015. There's the 3rd through 5th, 2014. He was open. Today, we do not have receipts. We'd be happy to provide them if that's necessary.
Well, you only have to be open for 1 day. All right, questions, commissioners?
Could you tell us what is the proof, or what supports the statement that he was open from October 3, 2014 to October 5, 2014, or whatever those dates are? And if we have to take testimony, he'll need to be sworn. But I think we need to have something on the record from the
All right,
licensee.
swear the witnesses.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Perlberg, you were open October 3rd through 5th, 2014, is that correct?
Yes.
That was Fells Point Fun Fest?
Yes.
That's a weekend you were open because it tends to be a pretty lucrative weekend for businesses in the area. There will be credit card receipts and bank transaction records for that date?
Yes, sir.
You don't have those with you today, though, correct?
Correct.
You could provide them to the board if necessary.
Yes.
All right, sir.
yes, thank you, Your Honor. I have no questions
I
for.
have one.
Mhm.
Coming before us today, on the type of request you had before the board, why didn't you bring some proof?
May I jump in? I actually filed the request when these parties were nearing litigation, and I filed it for August 10th. It's only after we started negotiating that we learned for sure that the establishment was open and operating for Fells Point Fun Fest. So he's not my client, so I would just say that
I certainly didn't tell him or ask him to bring those records down. So I'm sorry for jumping in.
Any other questions?
I'm not finished yet. I have some another question. I want to know, when you found out that you were coming before the board, you being a past chairperson, you know better. Somebody should have brought some proof. We should not have had to ask for this. Of course, it doesn't mean that we can't make a decision without that proof, because as long as it's put before the board if we desire to ask for it, and you bring it before us, and you can substantiate it, then the ruling can go forward. But if you don't bring it before us, or submit it by a timely fashion on any date that we might decide to give you, you know, then we still may not carry forth the decision that we may make here today. Was I understood?
But you were on the board with him. Why didn't you instruct him?
I'm just instructing him now. I told him.
The failure
I'm
is
telling you,
mine.
I'm not
The
letting
failure
you get away
is
with
mine
it.
in that
You were
regard.
smiling at me, Judge.
If I may, I believe there was some confusion initially when Mr. Fogelman filed as to the actual date. I think you said it was August 10th, and I think someone may have indicated that there was a later date to go by.
Right. In fact, the board, I believe, was operating under November 7th, 2014 as the closing, because that was the eviction date. But I just was concerned, because this board obviously takes that 180 days extremely seriously, as you should, that we knew it was open on August 10th with Mr. Sharafi's own eyes, so we wanted to just get this thing in under that 180 days. Subsequently, we learned that Mr. Perlberg was operating for business during the Fells Point Fun Fest, so, and I apologize for any lack of evidence.
Email us the receipts. I'll be happy with that.
I'll be happy to follow up with that with Mr. Hurdle and get those submitted to the board.
Thanks, Judge.
Okay. Any other questions?
One, what is the nature of the hardship?
The nature of the hardship, and I think it's detailed in my February 5, 2015 letter. We have a situation where, and again, we're very close to settlement, so I want to choose my words carefully here. We had a situation where the tenant, who is the licensee, was evicted. And then in the meantime, my client has interested parties who want to come in there. The nature of the hardship is that the licensee is required to sign a transfer authorization. And as of the date of this letter, we had no agreement, and therefore the licensee, I couldn't promise you that the licensee was going to agree to a transfer. And we were very much believing we were headed for litigation at that time, including a writ of mandamus or a relief that would require Mr. Perlberg to sign. So I believe at the time we filed this that there indeed was truly a hardship involving two parties that were not able to agree. Meanwhile, the license sits dormant, and if nothing happened, this license would have expired. And that's why I wrote.
Anything else?
No.
I have a question which has nothing to do with the decision. Why do you call yourself a shot tower? You're not the shot tower.
It was after the building as you got off 83 in the President Street on the left.
You just picked that name, you mean?
The whole initial concept was going to be based off that, but we had some height restrictions within the building, so it wasn't realistic.
And Mr. Chairman, I always thought it was a double entendre. I thought it was shot as in a shot of alcohol, shot tower, but I could be wrong. I can't get into his brain to find out.
All right, the time of decision, I vote yes.
Yes.
Yes,
You have our decision.
Thank you very much.
but we do want that,
Subject to your sending the requested documents to us.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
I assume they're coming, so therefore.
yes.
Thank you.
All right, folks, and we'll stand
Thank you.
adjourned till, unless we have everybody
I,
here.
Honorable Chair, I just wanted to read into the record that the last two items were continued because of some issues with getting the people here, and they will be rescheduled on your next docket.
Say it again.
That we have rescheduled the last two items on your docket for the record. That was Lana Farnsworth at 1201 Potomac.
And what about the one for 1 o'clock?
And
I talked to my client, and I had a call about trying to get him down, and he said he'd be here by 11:30, so
Okay, we'll
15 minutes if you could.
take a recess. Let us know when they're here.
That's the only
We're ready. Our inspectors are here.
We're gonna move that one out.
Let me help you, help me.
help all of us.
All right, folks, we'll stay in recess until we get everybody here.
One is in regards to Yusuf Tezeran, opposite side of the sidewalk saloon at 132 South Curtis Street.
For the record, Melvin J. Kaninsky, 19 East Fayette Street, representing the licensee.
All right, swear all the witnesses.
Raise your right hands, please. Raise your right hands. Do you swear or affirm the testimony that you're about to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Present your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. Preliminarily, just going to make a motion to introduce the case file into evidence, including the evidentiary file.
Mark it Exhibit 1.
Over objection.
Over your objection.
Thank you. I'll be calling my first witness. It'll be Miss Inspector Joanne Martin.
Come
May I
over.
please?
You've been sworn. Enter your name, please.
Joanne Martin, Baltimore City Board.
Go ahead.
And can you please just explain to the board what it is that you do, Miss Martin, for the liquor board?
Is there any objection to her expertise? It's stipulated that Ms. Martin would be, testimony would be entered in as a part of an expert witness that's familiar with liquor board laws and procedures and conclusions therefrom. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Just drawing your attention to January 29th, 2015, approximately 6:35 p.m. Did you happen to have the opportunity to respond to 132 South Carey Street?
Yes.
And what city and state is that located in?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Now, if you could please describe the circumstances to the board which brought you at that location on that date and time.
Okay, at that time, myself and Inspector Shelton Jones were actually over at B&O Cafe posting a sign for the closure.
And what, if anything, did you observe at that time that made you go to 132 South Carey Street?
At that time, I observed numerous people loitering on the corner across the street at 132 North Carey Street.
Now, what establishment is located at 132 South Carey Street?
It's the opposite sidewalk cafe.
Okay. Now, upon seeing these individuals, how many individuals did you see loitering, as you stated, in front of?
Objection is the conclusion of loitering.
What is your objection again?
As to her conclusion that they were loitering, loitering generally means to impede the free flow of traffic. I don't know if we have that far. That's the legal definition.
Well, have her explain it in more detail what she's talking about.
How many people did you observe across the street at 132 South Carey Street?
Approximately 6 to 8 people on the corner.
And if you could describe to the board, where were they standing on the corner?
They were actually standing around the entrance of the bar, and at that area, the sidewalk has the handicap sections out of the curb area, because as I proceeded across the street, I actually had to almost go around to get to the entrance of the bar.
Okay. So you you yourself, when you were walking towards the bar, were impeded on going straight into the bar because you had to move around the traffic
That's
that
correct.
was standing in front of the bar?
That's correct.
Okay. So based on your observations, what, if anything, did you do when you saw these individuals loitering on the corner, as you stated?
Well, I did not approach them. I actually went inside to actually talk to a manager or licensee in reference to the loitering. However, at that time, I wasn't allowed to go into the back.
Okay. I'm just going to slow you down. When you said you went inside, where did you go inside?
Right inside of the bar is a package. It's set up as a packaged goods area in there. It's approximately 6 by 6 area where they're actually selling packaged goods over the bar.
And what, if anything, did you do in an attempt to get to the tavern area, as you just stated?
Okay. I went over and I tried to open the door. The door was locked. It would not open.
When you say open the door to what?
To the bar.
Okay.
It's a BD7, so they have to have an operating bar.
Okay. Was the door that you attempted to open locked or unlocked?
It was locked.
Okay. And what, if anything, did you do once you found out it was locked?
I actually nodded to the person, went to the person like this to open the door.
What person?
The attendant, I did not get his name. He was the manager at that time, waiting on patrons
Okay.
behind the plexiglass.
Okay, and once you got his attention, what, if anything, did he say or do?
He went like this, not open.
Okay. And after he went like, you said, say that, can you repeat that again?
He said, not open, like that.
Okay,
So he looked at me and went, not open.
okay. And after he did that, what, if anything, did you do?
Okay, and I said, not open. I went back, like, you're not gonna let me in, and went, not open. So then I walked out. Shelton Jones was standing outside, and I walked back out to tell him they wouldn't let me in the back, which is clearly a violation.
And then,
Object to the conclusion of violation, conclusion the board had.
Well, she's an expert, overruled. Go ahead.
and what, if anything, did you do after you spoke with Chief Inspector Jones?
Well, what happened was, after Chief Inspector and myself conferred, a patron went in and we asked him to try to go to the back to have a drink.
Okay.
They refused that person.
Could you
also.
please describe that interaction with the patron for the board? When you say that, what do you mean? How did you know he was a patron?
Well, he was standing outside saying that he wanted to go, there was a line.
Mhm.
There was a line for people to be waited on
Mhm.
at the counter,
Mhm.
at the packaged good area. We said to him, well, go in, you can have a drink in the back. Go ahead in and try to get waited on that way.
And then what did you do after you told him that? What, if anything, happened after you told him
Well,
that?
we were standing outside, the door was open, we just looked to see if he was allowed in.
And
he
what, if
was-
anything, did you observe?
And he was not allowed in.
How do you
Again,
know that?
Because again, the attendant told him, no, we're not open. He
Okay.
refused him to come back.
Mm-hmm. And you heard the attendant say that?
Yes.
Okay. And how far away were you when you made this observation of this patron who attempted to get to use the tavern?
Standing in the doorway.
Okay, and you're staying in the doorway. How far away is the patron from you? If you can explain to the board, as far as away as I am, as far as away as Mr. Kadinsky is?
Judge Ward, 6 foot, about 6 foot away.
What'd she say?
She said
How far away was the patron?
she was standing about 6 feet away from between where she's standing, where you're standing, when she observed the patron being denied access to the tavern and heard the bar manager state, not open. What did you do after that?
After that, along with Chief Inspector Shelton, we identified ourselves as Baltimore Liquor Board and asked him to please open the door for us.
And what happened next?
He did open the door.
And then what did you begin to do after he opened the door?
So we proceeded to do a routine inspection.
Okay. And if you could just briefly describe what is a routine inspection?
Okay, routine inspection is where an inspector actually goes in and observes them physically, makes sure that they are abiding to all the rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board.
And in conducting the inspection, did you happen to come across any potential violations?
Yes, we did.
And what violations did you observe while conducting your inspection?
The characterization, but
Overruled. Go ahead. Answer. What's the answer? What'd you
Yes.
see? Let's get to it.
Okay, we actually saw stock that was not 2 inches raised off the floor, a lot of trash in the back area, which actually was almost an encroachment. Well, I shouldn't say almost, it was an encroachment to customers that would have to get to the bathroom area, piles of trash in the back. And also, their stock was actually piled up on their staircase. We actually took pictures of those particular
I was
items.
just going to get to that. And it's already been introduced, Your Honor, into evidence, the case file. There should be 2 exhibits. Exhibit 1 is the report, and Exhibit 2 are the photos. And I would just point your attention now to the board. I'm just going to, may I approach the witness?
Yes, of course.
I'm now showing you, this would be, I'm now showing you probably what's marked in the photographic evidence. This is picture 6 in the order, right here, if you can see. What is this?
This is the trash that I just, a minute ago said was encroaching actually the hallway to get to the bathroom.
And could you explain why this is a violation?
And you hold up the picture so we can see what you're talking about. And can you see it all right? All right.
And can you, is this sufficient for the board?
Yeah, we'll mark it, so we know what we're talking about. All right, mark it as Exhibit 2. Go ahead.
Could you please explain to the board why this picture right here is a violation of the rules and regulations of Baltimore City Liquor Board, in your opinion?
Well, for one thing, you should not have trash stored in the area for sanitation reasons and fire hazard. Secondly, as I referred to before, it actually blocks the passageway to get in and out of the bathroom.
Now, when you were conducting your observations of the establishment, the tavern area,
Yes.
Did you see anyone back there?
No.
Was the tavern area in use?
I'm going to say that it was opened. There were no customers in there.
Did you see any evidence of prior customers being in there?
Objection.
Any your reason?
I don't know, as to any evidence, how she'd be qualified if anybody was in there. If she wasn't in there before, how could she say if anybody was in there?
Well, she might see bottles, I don't know, overruled.
No, I didn't see any indication that any leftover bottles or cups.
And did you take a picture of the tavern area, showing the condition of the tavern area at the time you went in the back?
Chief Jones took the pictures.
Is this a
I couldn't hear what you said.
Chief Jones took the pictures.
Now, let me ask you a question. Is this a true and accurate representation of what you saw, of the condition of the area at the time that you made your investigation?
Yes, it is.
I'm showing the board now this picture right here. It's right here. It shows the condition of the tavern area, showing that no one is in the tavern area currently. Can you see, Mr. Jones? Mr. Chair?
I'm looking. Okay. Exhibit 3. Mark it.
Now, did you make any observations of any stock that was placed, in your opinion, inappropriately in the storage area or in the tavern area?
Yes, I did.
Can you please describe to the board your observations?
There is a stairway that leads to the second floor, which they are allowed to actually store their stock. However,
On the stairway or on the second floor?
on the second floor. However, I did observe that the steps were full of stock, and they were 4 and 5 cases high going up the steps to the second floor.
Now, does this picture that I'm showing you truly and accurately reflect your observations of the stock on the steps leading up to the second floor?
It just shows 3 steps, 4 steps. It was all the way up. I don't know if we have another picture showing that.
We may, but does this
Okay.
accurately reflect the 2 to 3 steps that you initially saw?
Yes, yes.
Now, I'm showing the board, and this has been moved into evidence, this is a picture of the stock, which is on the steps. Mr. Chairman?
Yep, I see it. Exhibit 4.
And is this another picture also?
Yes, it is,
of
of
the
the
stock?
stock on the steps.
Okay, and truly and accurately represents what you saw at that time?
Yes, it does.
I'm showing this picture to the board as well.
Exhibit 5. Make sure they're marked.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
And you had said earlier that the trash in the beginning, when we showed the first picture, was blocking kind of the pathway of the hallway, correct?
Correct.
Now, I'm showing you this picture right here. Is this a better representation of the stock that's blocking the hallway?
Yes, it is.
And this truly and accurately reflects what you saw at that time, correct?
Yes, it is.
And I'm now showing you this exhibit right
Okay,
here.
Exhibit 6,
And you
mark
can
it.
see the stock right there. And Mr. Kudinski does have a copy of all this.
Okay.
Anything else that you noticed about the stock other than it blocking the stairway?
That it was not raised 2 inches off the floor.
Not what?
It was not raised 2 inches off the floor, which is one of our rules and regulations also.
Okay. Now, after you conducted this investigation, took these photos, what, if anything, and these photos were taken, what, if anything, did you do? Did you inform the owner of any of the violations?
Yes, we did. As a matter of fact, the intendant, excuse me, did call, I'm going to say the licensee, who we were told was out of the town at the time, and his wife did come over and talk to us.
Okay, and what, if anything, did you inform his wife?
Well, we did inform the wife that we weren't allowed to come in. That was clearly a violation. Also, we did observe that a patron also wasn't allowed to go into the back area. And of course, then we did actually point out the other issues that we had observed, which would have been the stock on the steps, the trash, and what else was it?
And the 2 inches.
Well,
The
you
2
can't,
inches.
I can't tell
Yeah,
you.
no,
Sorry, strike
I'm
that.
just-
Strike that.
Sorry.
sustain.
I'm,
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, either you remember or you don't. Let's
I
go.
do remember talking to her in reference to our observations that we had saw before she got there.
okay. No more questions for this witness, Your Honor.
When you went in there, I read your report, it said that you had a complaint about loitering. Who was the complaint from?
That particular bar has had numerous complaints of loitering. It was just that we were out that evening and observed the
Is it
loitering.
posted no loitering signs on the building?
As a matter of fact, there is a sign on the side that does say no loitering.
And
Did
there-
see that.
And all these people that you see outside, they're on public sidewalks, correct?
That's correct.
All right, and when you wanted to get into the establishment, you were able to walk in through the front door?
Correct.
Okay, and when you went in with the chief inspector, you were able to go through the front door?
Correct.
So people could walk by on the sidewalk, it wasn't impeding the free flow of traffic on the sidewalk?
When I originally had walked over across the street, I did have to go around to actually get up the curb.
So you did go around, you went up the curb?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you say anything to anybody?
No,
You don't know anybody?
no, it's not our
I'm
job
just
to
asking a
talk to
question.
people and tell them to move. Okay.
Did you know there were customers of this establishment at all?
That, no, not upon my initial observation.
And along with that, this is on the corner,
Yes,
corner piece of property. And along with that, you had indicated that this rule about 2 inches, where is the rule? Can you tell me? Elevating the 2 inches stock? If I told you there's no such rule, could you point it out in the book where's the 2-inch rule?
I'm sure I have it somewhere. If I had the
If
rule
we had the
book, I
rule
could
book, can I
find
give
it.
it to you and you could find it?
I would hope so.
Okay. If I give you the part of the page that you referred to, I suggest to you there is no such rule. You still deny that.
Okay, let's go, folks.
And along with that, you had mentioned in the pictures that you've given that the stock was on the stairway to the second floor.
Correct.
The second floor is not a part of the licensed establishment.
No,
But the stairway is on the first floor.
Okay,
okay? And there's a space and, to go on the stairway up to the second floor, as you, from your pictures, correct?
correct?
All right, and you had indicated what you referred to as trash, which is this exhibit. These are actually boxes that have been cut up and put together to be pickup?
They're trash.
Right.
Yeah.
For the trash, correct?
I'm just asking, are they boxes that were actually cut up?
Yes.
And where, and with regard to this picture, where is the restroom?
Can I see the picture?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
The restroom's over here, you can't see.
You don't have a picture of it.
We do have a picture of the hallway and the restroom on the other picture, shows it clearly. This is just a picture of the hallway and the trash to show the encroachment.
You don't know how long that was there?
No?
And otherwise, the pictures you've given, there's no trash on the floor in these pictures that you've given to the board. It's only in that one section there, is that correct?
That's correct.
And the stock and inventory that you had there was stock and inventory that was stacked and piled in some orderly fashion, one on top of the other, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when you were in there, the first area that you come into is a little vestibule, as you mentioned. And it's what, you said maybe 6 by 6?
I would say about 6 by 6.
Okay. Did you try to order a drink there?
Well, you can't order a drink
Why not?
at the packaged goods area.
Isn't the whole first floor a licensed establishment established for on and off premises consumption?
Say that again, on and off. There is
That's how
no
the
off.
license reads, that the entire first floor is licensed for service on and off the premises?
I'm not understanding that question. When you say service on and off on and off the premises.
Sure, go ahead.
When you read the license here, it says designated for consumption on the above premises, which is the whole first floor,
Okay.
and elsewhere. So the front part is part of the licensed premises.
Well, why don't you read the license to her?
That's correct.
Yeah, why should-
Okay, that's
All right.
correct.
So you could drink right in the vestibule as long as you don't go outside with it, correct?
Technically, yes.
But nobody ordered a drink there.
No.
Okay, and along with that, you indicated that you found out that the licensee was out of town?
That is what his wife had told us.
Okay, that was after she came down, is that correct?
That's correct.
And other than that, were they cooperative with you?
Yes, they were.
And when you went into the establishment itself, did you see any televisions in there?
Yes.
Okay. And was a bar set up in there, there's tables and chairs in there, is that correct?
Yes. No bar stools.
No, okay. I have no further questions.
Hey, raise your right.
Just a couple of questions.
When you went into that packaged goods vestibule area, did you see anyone or observe anyone with a glass container in their hand drinking alcohol?
No, I did not.
Did you observe people with just packaged goods in their hands?
Yes.
Okay. Was anybody sitting down in that front area?
No.
Was anybody watching a TV in that front area?
No.
Was anybody treating that front area like it was a bar?
Objection.
No.
In your opinion as
Wait a
a,
minute.
sorry.
Sustain.
Was anybody treating that area, in your expert opinion, as a licensed liquor inspector, was anybody treating that area like a bar and not a
No.
packaged goods store?
Sustain.
Okay.
No.
You said.
No further questions.
Just very briefly, did you see anybody make any purchases there?
Yes, I did.
How many?
Quite a flow. No, about 5 or 6.
Okay. And then the time those people made the purchases, they made the purchases and left?
That's correct.
And you were,
Yeah,
and you were just standing there?
my copy is.
In the
good.
packaged
I'm gonna
goods
get you-
area,
Yeah.
not in the
I
bar.
got it.
Yes,
But eventually you got into the back area, is that correct?
that's correct.
I have no further questions.
All right, I want to open it up for commissioner questions at this time. And may I have the copy of the license? Mine's cut off. You might
Or we
find-
can even
Let me
just
start
see the
question
packet of the
off while you're
copies.
looking for that. Inspector, can you tell me what does the license state in reference to how that premises can be used to
Yours cut off
deal
too.
with liquor products?
I think this might be okay.
That particular license is a BD7 license, which requires the bar to be operating at all times when they have their packaged goods open.
Do the license stipulate whether or not the permit to use
Where's
this
the original?
development of this location as a liquor license, whether it's on the first or second floor?
It should have a notation there, yes. First floor.
Well, yeah, you look at this and you tell me
That's no good, it's cut off.
it's cut off. But that's it. Give it to,
Here's what we
give it to
get.
the inspector.
I'm showing her just a copy of the license, okay?
The actual license, and I'm going to read verbatim. First floor for business and basement for storage. There will be no separate packaged goods store or department. All packaged goods must be sold over the bar.
Over the bar?
Over the bar.
So, is there a bar in the front of this establishment?
The bar is actually continued through to the packaged goods area. So they are selling over the bar.
That just shot me in the leg.
I'd say,
Okay, I'm good.
Any other questions? All right, I have a question. You're an expert with respect to, is there any policy or violation, or with respect to your policies of as a liquor board inspector, with respect to putting packaged goods and other saleable goods on the floor and not above the floor?
It's always been our, we have always had the stock, we've always told our licensees that the stock needs to be 2 inches off the floor.
With respect to the Department of Health, are you familiar with any regulations with respect to storage?
I really think that's where it did actually originate, was through the health department, that these actual cases were on the floor deterring bugs and mold, if it would be damp or wet.
Now, these people you said that were out front loitering, what is your definition of loitering with respect to violations, if any, of the liquor board laws?
Okay, I would say loitering, my interpretation of that is people that are just standing around talking, they weren't smoking, they weren't actual patrons of the bar, in that I didn't really see anyone standing out there holding any packaged goods. People were just standing around out there talking.
Well, was there any difficulty with respect to excess as a result of these people?
Again, I'm going to say, in my personal experience, I did have to walk around them to get up the curb.
All right, any other questions, commissioners? All right, call your next witness.
Calling Chief Inspector Jones.
I actually do have a question. I just want to get clarity. So the violation is that they didn't have the bar area open, and you were denied access to the bar area.
That's correct.
But by having selling the packaged goods over the bar, how do those two connect to each other? Or not?
Well, the BD7s, we have quite a few BD7s out there that operate this way. They actually have a packaged good area before you even enter the bar, that are vestibule type situations that are really, I've never had the opportunity to go in and ask for a drink through the glass, the glass enclosures that they're selling.
Was there a glass enclosure here?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So what you're doing is you're
Now I get
actually
it.
going in and it's a big glass enclosure, and you're actually getting packaged goods over through here. However,
You can't-
because it is a BD7, the bar has to be open at all times to anyone that wants to go back and have a drink.
So.
was denied twice.
All right, so you wanted to be able to go beyond the glass enclosure, sit down, and have a drink, and were told no.
That's correct.
And then a patron, unrelated to you and your inspection, came in and asked for the same thing, go beyond the glass, sit down, have a drink, and was told no.
Correct.
And then you shared that you were a liquor board inspector, and were you then then allowed to go back into the bar
Yes.
area? And then you,
identified ourselves with our badges, and then, of course, we were clicked in.
Okay. And then when you were buzzed in, if you had wanted to sit down and have a drink, could you have sat down and had a drink?
We could set at tables. There were no bar stools to sit. However, there were tables, there was seating.
Okay, all right, that was
Okay.
my last question. So there's no bar stools at the bar,
Correct.
but if you want to sit down and have a glass of Chablis or whatever, you could do that at a table.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. All right, thank you.
Can I?
Well, finish it up.
One
Go
quick
ahead.
follow-up, real quick. Were there a 3-compartment sink set up in the back operating?
Yes, it was.
Was there a bar also set up in the back that you could sell drinks from?
Yes.
With
Is it
respect,
customary for this type of establishment to sell drinks in the cut rate area?
No.
Is there any rule or guideline that you have in place that you know of that would prevent them from doing that?
The only thing I could see that would prevent them from doing that is to hand them a drink through there and they walk out with it. They're almost condoning, well, here's a to-go couplets, you can take it out. That would be my only concern. If you were allowed to purchase a drink through there, then you have to go in the back and drink it. It would be very hard for even the licensee to monitor that they're not walking in and out with a drink.
Last question. Is there any guidelines that stipulates that you must have someone to serve the bar area as well as the cut right area? Can one person do both? I mean, is there a guideline, some type of written policy?
Not that I know of.
well, follow up on that. Was there anybody there to do that?
There was just one attendant.
That was at the window.
That was at the window.
Now, we've had a lot of questions. You have any cross or direct?
Yeah, but that one person was behind the bar and could walk from the one section. There was no glass behind where he was. He would walk in the other section where you would have been, correct?
Correct.
So it was a complete walkthrough, he could walk through.
Yes.
Now, you had indicated in response to Commissioner Jones that there's no rule against somebody drinking in the vestibule. It would be, the only problem would be if somebody take an open container and would walk out with it.
That's correct.
You didn't see anybody taking an open container out, and you didn't order a drink there.
Correct.
Was it your policy as a liquor inspector, if you were in a place, to make sure they were serving, to order a drink? Have you ever ordered a drink when you're on an inspection?
Not from the plexiglass window, no.
Have you ever ordered a drink inside?
Yes.
Okay. And if you were inside, as I mentioned with Commissioner Moore, they had 3-4 tables there with tables and chairs, correct?
Correct.
So you could have had that Chablis or Chardonnay, whatever it was, but you could have sat there and drank there, correct?
Correct.
You could also have drank at the bar, correct?
Correct.
And when you said you spoke, and the individual said to you, did you actually hear him say that you couldn't go back there? You said, I saw you say when he was waving, did you actually?
He said no, right.
No.
I heard him. He waved, it's not open.
Do you see that individual here today? Yeah, take a look. I mean, I'm
As a
gonna-
matter of fact, it's the gentleman.
That was one that came. One that came?
No,
This gentleman. Okay.
Identify him.
And was I don't know what his name is, but he was
Well,
there.
identify him by name.
What's your name?
My name is Imbai.
Come on up here, because they're not gonna pick this up. Come on up. State your name.
Has he been sworn?
They've all been sworn.
You want me to spell it for you?
Well, just, yeah, but if one person speaks, I can actually write the name
Why don't
down.
you spell your name for me?
Okay, Imbai, E-M-B-A-Y.
Sorry, I wasn't ready yet. Started, I was writing notes. What's your name?
E-A-B-Y, Imbai.
And
Last name, Kebra'ab, K-E-B-R-A-B.
Nothing further.
Calling Chief Inspector Jones. Your Honor, can we stipulate that Chief Inspector Jones is expert in,
Well, he's a recent employee now. But I'll stipulate.
All right. Then Chief Inspector Jones will be admitted as an expert in the field of liquor inspection laws, policies, and conclusions. Go ahead.
Just be very quick. I'm just going to direct your attention to January 29th, 2015, 6:35 p.m., 132 South Carey Street. Did you happen to be there on that date and time and conduct a routine investigation of that establishment?
Yes, I did.
And during that routine investigation, did you happen to take pictures of the establishment?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so these were your pictures that you took?
Yes.
Okay, and at that time, what, if any, observations did you make of individuals consuming cups of alcohol in that vestibule area?
Well, there was no patrons consuming alcohol in the vestibule area. There was a line of customers waiting to be waited on from the packaged goods area.
and if you could, you may recall that Inspector Martin talked about how there was a plexiglass. Could you describe that kind of plexiglass? Was there a turnstile, or was it a?
There's a turnstile plexiglass area separated by the doorway to the bar area.
Mm-hmm. And did you see at all the bartender attendant mixing drinks at the time?
No.
Did you see him pouring anything into any kind of cups?
No.
Okay. Did he have any cups nearby that you could see that he was reaching for?
You couldn't see him from the packaged goods area that we were standing at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But once we entered the back of the bar area, there were actually paper cups on the counter.
On the back of the bar area?
On the back of the bar area.
Okay. All right. And I just want to bring your attention actually to one picture which I didn't mention. Could you please tell or describe, I'm now showing this picture right here of the door. What is this door right here?
That's the side exit door from the rear of the bar.
Okay. Now, what was the condition of this door when you found it?
It was deadbolt locked, and they also have a sliding lock at the top that was also locked when we actually entered the back of the bar.
So, is there anything wrong with that? Is this a violation?
Yes, because if you have patrons in there, it's a fire hazard that you can't actually, in an emergency, look for a key trying to exit the door to get out if there was a fire in that part of the bar.
Okay. And did you examine this door when you went back there?
Yes.
What was the condition of the door? Was it open or was it locked?
It was locked.
Okay.
All right, you gonna mark it?
Yes, sir.
All right, mark it, that's at 7.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
No, I believe Inspector Martin testified it'd be
Just
redundant.
briefly, was that door marked as an exit door?
Yes, it has an exit sign on top of it.
Why didn't you take a picture of the exit
Sorry.
sign?
Because I wanted the picture of the deadbolt, not the exit sign.
But you don't have the picture with the exit sign.
No, it's the exit door. It's the only door in the back that's the exit.
And there was nobody in the back except you and Inspector Martin.
And the gentleman over to your right.
And when you asked the question about the plexiglass, there's no plexiglass between the bar area and the packaged goods area behind the bar, is that correct?
Correct.
You walk free from one side. And when you were in the bar area, nobody ordered a drink there.
There was nobody back there.
But you didn't order one.
No.
I mean, you could have ordered a drink while you were talking to him.
Well, I didn't order a drink because I've been in this location 3 other times. I've spoken to the licensee. I've spoken to the gentleman who was the clerk. And I've spoken to his wife on several different occasions, and the gentleman who's standing right behind you on several different occasions in reference to the bar not being open, in reference to.
But my question is,
Wait a
you
minute, let
ordered
him.
a drink while I'm objecting. He didn't answer my question.
Let him finish.
No,
His-
it's irrelevant.
Regardless, you afterwards, you
Well,
could
then
make
I'll
a
continue
motion
for
to
a long
strike.
time then.
Pardon? Wait a minute.
No, I'm sorry. That's wrong.
I was gonna say, you watch out. All right, go ahead, finish your testimony, sir.
I had spoken to him on several different occasions about the loitering out front, which the licensee, who is directly to your right, I spoke to him prior to that. I spoke to his wife several times over the phone in reference to him being out of the country at the time because we had a prior incident with the bar across the street, which the Lord was going back and forth from. And on this occasion, the licensee's wife did show up later, and I spoke to her in reference to these issues.
But the bottom line is you didn't order a drink.
The bottom line was the bar was not open for anybody to order a drink.
There was a person you were talking to. Did you order a drink from?
I sent my inspector in, who was denied access.
Did you order a drink?
I did not order a drink because they know who I am.
Do you ever drink in bars?
Yes,
So you knew how to order a drink.
yes.
And along with that, do you know if there's been any loitering arrests made there
Yes,
at that location?
that location and the location across the street.
And there are public streets.
They are public streets.
So it's loitering on a public street, not on a licensed premises.
Was loitering on a public street in front of a licensed premises.
Correct. And it's posted no loitering.
Yes, on both corners.
Who enforces no loitering laws?
The police department and the licensees.
You are telling me, as a matter of fact, under oath, that the licensee has authority to enforce loitering outside his premises?
According to your Honor's own
I'm
words,
asking you, not his honor. His honor's here.
there has been a rule with this board that the licensee is responsible for loitering in front of his premises, period.
No matter what.
No matter what.
And now I'm going to speak. That is our policy.
Well, Your Honor, I'm just going to say this for the record because it may be something is, that policy was never enforced when the person that owned the bird cage on North Avenue tried it, when he was shot and killed when he went outside. The board said, no, you don't have authority, you call the police for loitering. That's not your job to enforce. That's the reason why the guy was dead. He was shot dead out there.
That's fine. Thank you for your information. No change in policy.
And as a matter of,
Let
Judge, let me just ask you one thing.
Go ahead.
I don't know that there's a written policy that says that. I've asked for written policies of the old board and this board, and I've never been given a written policy.
We'll file your complaint.
No, I'm not complaining, I'm just asking.
I'm not under,
No.
I don't have to answer any questions. I'm giving you the courtesy of saying what you wish to say on the subject. Let's go. Go ahead. Any other,
No further questions.
Cross.
Mrs. Cross.
all right, commissioners, questions, if any.
A door in any public area, if it's there, should it work properly for that purpose?
Yes, in case of emergency.
And what's the proper purpose of someone going out that door? Should they have to wait and find a key, or should they be able to push and move forward?
They should be able to push out that door without having to go locate a key. Because if there's an emergency, you don't have time to look for a key. And maybe the key may be in somebody's pocket, but you don't have time to look for a key in an emergency.
Does it make any difference how many people are in that area?
No, it does not.
Do anyone have to be there for that door to work properly if it's open?
If the licensed premises open, that door needs to be unlocked.
All right, any other questions of the commissioners? No. All right. Your testimony, sir, your position.
State your name and address for the record, please.
David Ellis, 108 South Carey Street,
How do you spell your last name, sir?
ELLIS.
And you are a patron of this location?
Yes,
And how often do you go there?
just about every day.
And do you drink in the bar area?
Yes,
What do you drink?
beer,
What kind of beer do you drink?
Bud Ice.
Bud Ice. Saw those cases of Bud Ice on there. Is that you drink a Bud Ice? Okay, and along with that, do you go there to see any sports events?
Yes,
Which ones?
football, baseball.
And you lived in that area for 15 years?
Yes, sir. Be 16 next month.
Next month? And it's been that way ever since you've lived there?
Ever since?
And you feel comfortable in the place?
Yes, sir.
Now, since the licensee has taken over, has he made improvements in there?
A lot.
Like what? Tell the board what he's done. Let's get a little
Oh, I'm
closer.
sorry.
Get in here.
What would you put that again?
What kind of improvements has he made since he's taken over the place?
He's got new stoves, new chairs, new tables, new floors, a lot.
They put TVs in there?
Yes.
And you ever have any problems getting in and out of the place?
No.
And I see you have a little disability have a problem?
I got a fractured back.
Okay, I have no further
All right, Cross?
Just a quick question, Mr. Ellis. Were you there on January 15th, 6:35 PM?
No,
Okay. And so you've never seen this inspector before?
not the lady, I've seen the guy before.
And you weren't, oh, you've seen the guy before, and you weren't in the back at the time, were
Yes.
you? You were not in the back on January 15th at 6:35 PM,
Not
were you?
January 15th, no.
Okay, no further questions.
All right. Next witness. We're going to call for the board after you're finished.
State your name and address for the record.
Derek Hill, 705 Druid Hill Avenue.
And your last name is spelled?
Hill, H-E-A-L-D.
Now,
H-E-A-L-D.
Thank you. And your first name?
Derek.
Go ahead.
Mr. Hill, you were the owner prior to the current licensee, is that correct?
That's correct.
How many years
I'm going to
did you-
object. This is irrelevant.
Well, I don't know. What's your proffer?
I mean, I haven't asked him anything yet, so.
I know. What's your proffer?
Yeah.
Proper is that the bar's been the same as it has been for the last 15,
It's
20, or
irrelevant.
30 years.
It's irrelevant. Objection.
Well, you can think what you want, but
I'm-
I think it's
I'm
wrong. You took all other testimony.
Just making an argument.
I'll decide later whether it's irrelevant or not. I'm going to let you go ahead.
Now, be very brief. How many years did you own the bar?
26,
And has the bar always been set up the way it's set up now?
just the same.
And the bar goes all the way through, up to the front of the building, even through where the plexiglass area is, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you sold it to him about how long ago?
3 years.
Okay. And since then, I'm no further questions.
Any questions? Any questions?
Have you, just a quick question, Mr. Heald, is it Heald?
That's correct.
Have you managed the bar recently?
No,
Have you been involved with any of the operations recently?
no,
Okay, so you have no information to give as to what happened on January 15th, 6:35 PM?
no.
Okay.
All right, next witness.
That's all I would have for now. What else I have is depending on what the board does in mitigation.
Okay. So you're finished on your testimony with respect to violations?
Correct.
All right.
No.
Any questions of commissioners now with respect to anything, with respect to violations? All right. Now, on the issue of my decision with respect to violations. With respect to, first of all, the locking of the back door, or the finding it locked, and the pictures which confirm this, I find that this testimony is credible, I believe it, and I find it is a violation of the law with respect to safety and various other matters which have been testified to by the inspectors, and I adopt their testimony as I believe it. With respect to the issue of loitering, the issue of loitering has been looked at by the courts and by the liquor boards in the past. And there's different kinds of loitering. I find that the loitering in this case, blocking the entrance, making it difficult for the inspector to be able to get into the bar, is a violation of the law and is included within the policies and powers of the liquor board and their inspectors. Now, certain kinds of loitering, which are not located or with respect to the bar or not having any connection with the bar, for example, somebody is just standing on the street somewhere near in the vicinity of a bar, has nothing to do with the bar, not blocking or preventing any violation of the law or access. That's a different matter, and I'm not going to go into a detailed explanation of loitering. But I find that the loitering in this case existed, and I find it a violation of the law. Now, with respect to sanitation and safety, it's very clear that these matters were blocking not only the bathroom, which in itself is a violation of the law, but also on the floor, on the steps, and the sanitation is clearly, as the expert liquor inspector testified, and also she mentioned the fact that it comes from the health department, and she adopted that. I find that her testimony is credible, and I believe it, and I find that there was a sanitation and safety violation. Now, let me think where the other things what I've missed. With respect to the issue of whether or not the bar is open or not open to the general public, it's clear that this is the way the bar is operated and other bars operate. But in this particular case, there's no testimony that anybody was manning the bar in the back, and that the people lined up were operating as a packaged liquor store through a secured front. And I find that from all the testimony that I've heard, that this bar was not in business at the time that these liquor inspectors were there. And I believe their testimony, and I find it credible, and therefore I find it a violation of the law also that the back bar, including the testimony that the door was locked to the back door, to the back bar, nobody was present, and there was nobody buying or selling or looking or doing anything in the back bar. So therefore, the fact that you could physically get from the front to the back does not persuade me that there was not a violation in this case of a proper manning of the back bar to comply with the liquor laws of Baltimore City, and I find clearly that there was a violation. All right, now that's my findings with respect to liability. Now as to punishment. I'll be glad to hear from, not you, sir, because I'm going to skip you.
Can we get votes from the other two?
No,
Commissioners.
I decide the law.
Okay.
Now, look, let me ask you something.
You know,
Now, Mr. Kandinsky, you and I have been friends for a long time. I don't need those little extras. You
No,
know
no,
what I mean? No, I'm telling you. Conduct yourself like you were in front of me at the Circuit Court of Baltimore City. And don't be mouthing these little extras all the time, which almost border on contempt for the board.
Judge, I apologize, but generally you need the votes from the other commissioners.
I do not, and I decide that, and I don't need another one of your little remarks again.
Well, then let me do in mitigation at this point. This particular individual has owned this place the last 3 years, never had any problems. At the time this event took place, he had to go back to Ethiopia, what's it, Aretha, when his mom was very ill. Let this gentleman here be in charge.
Now, there's no record here, is that right? Since he's been operating.
No record, and in fact, the place that you had here before, from across the street, and you had the police officer testifying, I think you referred to him as Butterbean, or whatever his name was.
Who, me?
Yeah, I'm reading here what it says in the transcript from the B&O, where when they were talking, the officer was talking about this particular establishment. It says that that this particular place, they run a pretty tight ship over at his establishment as opposed to the B&O. So when I get some credible testimony from the police officer, I like to use it, and that's out of your transcript from January 29th.
I see what you're doing.
Okay?
Okay.
And along with that, and I'll tell you, he's got pictures of it, he's removed all the stock off the floor, he's had events there, I've got pictures of, I hate to show you the Raven cheerleaders there, because you might want to get them for dancing when they were there during the playoffs, because there was a lot of activity. People come in, he put TVs, they never had TVs in there before. He's made the vestibule small so that there would be, and I think you all know there's a big drug problem up in that area. He gets them, get them out of there. He won't let them congregate along there. He has security cameras he put up. He put more lighting up there, and he's generally there all the time, except for the time he had went back home for his mom. I told him and I explained to him and his wife that they have to have both areas open at all times. The doors have to be compliant to the code with the panic bars on them, and that he's already taken all the things off the floor. And if he has them on his camera, but I'll proffer that he's taking care of all those issues.
All right. Now, with respect to the decision, or my decision, now the commissioners, of course, all participate. I agree with you to the extent that because there's no prior record in this case, and also because there is no the kind of conduct which calls for closing, I don't find present here as a result of a first offense. It's clear to me that they're taking a shortcut with respect to the back bar, and that the shortcut means saving money and not having somebody operate the bar. And that's usually the way it is. But the fact that the door was locked is a clear violation, and it calls for a fine, in my opinion. And with respect to the hanging out in the front and calling it what you want to call it, to the point where the inspector has to walk around in a circle to get in the door, is a clear violation, and it's got to stop. And in fact, because I'm not going to, in my opinion, close this bar, but simply fine. But if you come back, this is a warning that that business of hanging around the front is a very serious thing, and we've got to clear up this corner because of the cross the street and your bar, your client's bar. Therefore, with respect to fines, I do as follows. With respect to the charge 5.03, with respect to the violations noted in the charge sheet, I find the responsibility of the owner is clear, and the fine is $750. With respect to sanitation and safety, I find that the evidence is clear, adopt it, and the fine is $750. How much time do you need to pay it? 2 weeks. That's my decision. Commissioner.
Your Honor.
In reference to both charges, I just about agree with everything that the judge stated in his decision making. The attorney clearly identified a comment made by the police officer who patrolled that area, and he did make the statement that they don't lounge around inside of the establishment, but the reasoning was because it was so small that most of them are on the outside of the establishment. And that's the reason why I concur that loitering is a problem at this location. The only other thing I want to say is that this is a first offense, and I think we are only allowed the monetary value is only $500, the most, I think, according to.
Is that right?
Rule.
$500 is the most.
So
what about the second charge?
$500.
So therefore my fines are illegal.
Your fines are illegal.
All right, then I'm going to correct it. Thank you.
But $500 per charge is the most, and I would agree with that.
So, to be clear, I join in the finding of responsibility. I think it's very clear that there's responsibility, that there has been a violation of the rules of the liquor board. Clearly there's loitering. Clearly, I mean, without a doubt, the bar was closed. It should have been open. It's even, this is an aside, it's possible that the loitering issue would resolve if the bar were open. I agree with the imposition of a $500 fine for the first offense. For the second offense, I would impose a $1,000 fine. And I don't know if that's possible, given that this is their first time before the board. The first violation would be $500, the second violation would be $1,000. But
For each subsequent violation, it's $1,000. Her Honor is correct. And I was incorrect. 16507 says for the first violation, $500, and for the subsequent, it's $1,000. I know it's been the practice of the board that if it's a first-time offense and they may have 1 or 2 charges, sometimes the board will just limit that $500 because it is the first set of convictions. But to be clear, Madam Commissioner is exactly right. $500 for the first offense and $1,000 for each subsequent offense.
So what do you want to do? So in other words, I could 500 and I could be 1,000, but I'll tell you the truth. Whatever you two want, it's okay with me.
I'll do this. I'll do 500 and then 750, and I would agree to reduce it because of apparently your mitigation testimony, Mr. Kadinsky, is helpful. We haven't looked at the iPhone photos, but I take you at your word that they have resolved the issue with respect to storage. Have they resolved the issue with respect to the back door? You're working on that now? Okay. Yeah. So I would do 500 for the first, 750 for the second.
And I adopt. And what is your position?
I agree.
No, we're unanimous.
And you do find responsibility,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
So then, he agrees.
Okay, great.
He's in.
All right.
All right, now how much time do you need?
2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. All right, folks, don't come back.
All right.
Incidentally, just talking not as a part of this decision, but I understand how tough it is to run a liquor establishment where the government has put a liquor rehabilitation center 2 blocks from your bar, where you have 1,700 people a day coming for rehabilitation of drugs. And but it's not us. We can't. The liquor board can't chastise the government. You just have to deal with your business relationships and do what you have to do to stay in business. I understand the problem.
It's the state rule, and there's got
guys can remember which kamikaze pilots that lived. There's no line left among anybody here on the paper.
Another problem I have.
Me?
Another problem I have, bro. The chief
Off the record, yeah.
inspector communicate that to them on several occasions.
Ms. Meehan, I have a question for you.
But listen,
And I believe my chief inspector. He communicated with them on several occasions what not to do.
Byron.
I have been so.
Somebody needs to listen.
I'm listening.
You know, somebody needs to listen. Because when you don't listen and you come back before me again, you would think we twins. I'm not gonna blame them. Please. Please.
I know you got a tough job there.
And we know it's not easy. And now it's not the time for that. It's no debate. I mean, I'm just making a statement, that's all.
I will stand adjourned until next week.
How you doing? How's the Dominican?
No, no.